Hello YouTube. I want to move forward a little bit when it comes to the next citation of Old Testament prophecy that I want to cover. This one is in the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2, verses 25 through 28. And for context, I'm going to read verses 22 through 31. You that are Israelites, listen to what I have to say. Jesus of Nazareth, a man attested to you by God with deeds of power, wonders, and signs that God did through him among you, as you yourselves know. This man, handed over to you according to the definite plan and foreknowledge of God, you crucified and killed by the hands of those outside the law. But God raised him up, having freed him from death, because it was impossible for him to be held in its power. For David says concerning him, I saw the Lord always before me, for he is at my right hand, so that I will not be shaken. Therefore my heart was glad, and my tongue rejoiced. Moreover, my flesh will live in hope. For you will not abandon my soul to Hades, or let your Holy One experience corruption. You have made known to me the ways of life. You will make me full of gladness with your presence. Fellow Israelites, I may say to you confidently of our ancestor David that he both died and was buried, and his tomb is with us to this day. Since he was a prophet, he knew that God had sworn with an oath to him that he would put one of his descendants on his throne. Foreseeing this, David spoke of the resurrection of the Messiah, saying, He was not abandoned to Hades, nor did his flesh experience corruption. Okay, a few things before I get to the citation. Two different times in verses 22 and 23, Jesus is referred to as a man. There's no concept here of him being incarnate of God. And it's for that reason that verse 24 says God raised him up. Jesus did not raise himself up because it was not possible for Jesus to do that in this version of Christology. And next, I do find it interesting that in verse 30, David is referred to as a prophet, and this psalm is used. It seems to me that somebody is considered a prophet whenever it serves a certain theological point. Now, the citation in verses 25 through 28 comes from Psalm 16, verses 8 through 11. And the wording here is far closer to the Septuagint. So I'm going to be reading Psalm 16 from the New English translation of the Septuagint, but I will point out a couple different things from the New Revised Standard Version, which also uses the Masoretic text. So, Psalm 16. A stele inscription pertaining to David. Guard me, O Lord, because in you I hoped. I said to the Lord, My Lord you are, because you have no need of my goods. As for the holy ones who are in his land, he made marvelous all his wants among them. Their infirmities were multiplied. After that they were quick. I will not gather their gatherings due to spilled blood, or make mention of their names with my lips. The Lord is the portion of my inheritance and of my cup. You are the one who restores to me my inheritance. Boundary lines dropped for me in the most excellent spots. Indeed, to me my inheritance is most excellent. I will bless the Lord who makes me understand. Moreover, until night my kidneys instructed me. I kept seeing the Lord always before me, because he is at my right, that I might not be shaken. Therefore my heart was glad, and my tongue rejoiced. Moreover, my flesh will encamp in hope, because you will not abandon my soul to Hades, or give your devout to see corruption. You made known to me ways of life. You fill me with gladness along with your face. In your right hand are delights completely. There are a couple important things that I think need to be pointed out from the New Revised Standard Version, because I think it helps clarify what this psalm is actually talking about. This is how verse 4 reads in that translation. Those who choose another God multiply their sorrows. Their drink offerings of blood I will not pour out, or take their names upon my lips. Then it goes on in verse 5. The Lord is my chosen cup, my chosen portion and my cup. You hold my lot. So what this whole psalm is talking about is someone converting from non-Israelite religion to Yahwism. That's what it's referring to. And the inscription of this being a Psalm of David is just something that's been tacked onto later. I think it would be a very difficult case to make that at one point David converted to Yahwism. So, yeah, that's not what that's referring to. And because of that, I find it very difficult to see how that can apply to Jesus as well. But there's a little bit more. This does get into a little of the divine retributive justice, where followers of Yahweh expect to be rewarded for doing so. I do like the Septuagint translation in this case, because it mentions, as a result of Yahweh being trusted as his portion, boundary lines dropped for me in the most excellent spots. Indeed, to me, my inheritance is most excellent. Meaning, that's what they're expecting because of their loyalty to Yahweh. And then the evidence given in the Acts of the Apostles for God resurrecting Jesus. Yeah, this is a good one. The Septuagint version reads, because you will not abandon my soul to Hades, or give your devout to see corruption. The New Revised Standard Version reads, for you did not give me up to Sheol, or let your faithful one see the pit. So, the translators of the Hebrew Bible into Greek substituted the word Hades for Sheol, but what's also happening here is that New Testament ideas of Hades are being superimposed onto the psalm. Because the original psalm, when it's talking about that, not being given up to Sheol, that's referring to not being delivered to death. That the loyalty to Yahweh is extending Yahweh's subjects' life. That's what that's talking about. Where here, Hades is being made out to be the abode of the dead, where they live, and God rescued Jesus from Hades. See, that's a later idea that's being superimposed onto this. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense given the Psalm's original context. So the reason why I jumped ahead here was because I wanted to get into the New Testament idea of Hades a little bit, and I'm going to be doing that in a shortly forthcoming video.